There is a plant sitting in gardens across America right now, full of leaves. Looks completely healthy, and it has not bloomed in 2, maybe 3 years. The owner has watered it, fed it, pruned it, done everything right. Or so they thought. Here is what almost nobody tells you about hydrangeas. They are not fragile. They are not needy. They are actually one of the most resilient flowering shrubs you can grow. But they have a very specific way they want to be treated. And most of what we naturally do for them works directly against that. By the time this video ends, you will understand exactly why your hydrangeas bloom, why they sometimes refuse to, and how one change made near the end of this list has caused more garden frustration than almost anything else in hydrangea care. Stay with it. That one is worth the wait. There is a watering technique that sounds completely backward, but it is the reason some hydrangeas can survive 2 full weeks without rain and still look perfect. And one of the 5 things covered here has nothing to do with water, soil, or sunlight. It is a timing issue, and it silently ruins bloom seasons for thousands of gardeners every single year. Hydrangeas have some of the largest leaves of any common garden shrub, and those leaves are doing something you might not expect. They are releasing moisture into the air constantly. Even on a cool day, a mature hydrangea loses water through its leaves faster than most plants its size. This creates a problem that catches a lot of gardeners off guard. You check the soil near the surface. It feels fine, maybe even slightly damp. So you skip watering. But the plant is already pulling water out of deep reserves it barely has, because the roots never went deep enough to build those reserves in the first place. The issue is not how often you water. It is how you water. Frequent light watering keeps moisture near the top few inches of soil. The roots follow that moisture and stay shallow. A plant with shallow roots is completely dependent on you. Miss 2 days of watering in July heat, and that hydrangea droops dramatically. It looks like it is dying. It is just desperate. When you switch to deep, slow watering once or twice a week, something different happens. The water sinks down into the soil. The roots follow it. They anchor lower into soil that stays cooler and holds moisture longer. That plant can now handle a week of dry weather without showing stress. Water at the base, not on the leaves. Let it run slow and long. And then add a 3-inch layer of organic mulch around the root zone. Mulch is not decoration. It cuts soil moisture loss dramatically, keeps roots cooler through summer heat, and can reduce how often you need to water by roughly 1/3 or more. Do this once, and you will notice the difference within a single season. This is the one. This is the mistake that is quietly responsible for more my hydrangea never bloom situations than any other single cause. And it is almost never caught in the moment because the damage looks like success. Here is what happens. Fall comes. The garden looks a little messy. You pick up your pruning shears and cut the hydrangeas back hard. They look tidy going into winter. Come spring, they leaf out beautifully. Green, lush, healthy. And then summer arrives, and there are no flowers, just leaves. The reason is that many hydrangea varieties, particularly big leaf and oak leaf types, form their flower buds for next year on the current season's stems. Those buds set in late summer and fall. When you prune hard in autumn or early spring, you are not cleaning up the plant. You are removing the blooms before they ever open. The safe window for these varieties is right after flowering ends in summer. That brief period after the flowers fade, but before the plant starts setting next year's buds. That is your window to prune, shape, and remove dead wood without any risk to next year's display. But not all hydrangeas follow this rule. Panicle hydrangeas and smooth hydrangeas bloom on new growth that emerges each spring. For those varieties, late winter pruning is not just safe. It actually encourages bigger, more dramatic blooms. The fix is simple. Identify your variety before you touch it with shears. 5 minutes of research once will protect every bloom season going forward. Before we keep going, here is something worth holding on to. One of the remaining secrets explains why hydrangeas fed with the most popular fertilizers often produce the worst blooms. That one is coming up. Now, this next one is genuinely fascinating. The color of your hydrangea flowers is not fully locked in by genetics. For big leaf varieties, the color is largely controlled by your soil chemistry. Specifically, it is determined by whether aluminum is available to the plant. And that availability is controlled by soil pH. In acidic soil, around pH 4.5 to 5.5, aluminum becomes accessible to the plant and the flowers shift toward blue. In more alkaline soil, pH 6.5 and above, aluminum gets locked out and the flowers move toward pink and red tones. You can shift the color deliberately. To push toward blue, work aluminum sulfate into the soil in early spring before new growth starts. To move toward pink, add garden lawn. The shift takes a full growing season to show clearly, but it is real and repeatable. There is a second reason to care about pH beyond color. When soil chemistry is off, plants cannot absorb nutrients efficiently, even when you are fertilizing regularly. You might be feeding the soil, but the plant is essentially locked out of the table. A basic soil pH test kit from any garden center costs just a few dollars and gives you an answer in minutes. That test tells you more about why your hydrangeas underperform than almost any other single piece of information. Here is the fertilizer problem. And it is widespread because the advice behind it sounds completely logical. The standard recommendation is to feed hydrangeas with a high nitrogen fertilizer to promote healthy growth. And it works. You will get big, lush, dark green leaves on a plant that looks genuinely thriving. The flowers? You may get very few or none at all. The reason is straightforward once you understand it. Nitrogen drives vegetative growth. Leaves, stems, overall plant size. When nitrogen is abundant, a plant puts its energy into growing more of itself. Flowering is metabolically costly. And when the plant has plenty of nitrogen to work with, it tends to keep growing leaves rather than shift into bloom mode. What hydrangeas actually need to flower well is phosphorus. Phosphorus supports root development and flower production. When you switch to a fertilizer where the middle number on the label is the highest, something like a 103:1:0 ratio, you are feeding the plant in a way that supports blooming rather than just bulk. Timing matters just as much as the formula. Feed in early spring as the plant breaks dormancy, and again in early summer just before the bloom period begins. Stop completely by midsummer. Fertilizing late in the season pushes the plant to produce soft new growth, but cannot harden before cold weather arrives, making it more vulnerable to frost damage. Feed early, feed with phosphorus in mind, and then step back. You have probably read that hydrangeas prefer partial shade. That is technically accurate, but it is also the piece of advice most likely to lead you to a bad planting decision, because partial shade means very different things depending on when it falls. Hydrangeas want morning sun and afternoon shade. That specific pattern. Not dappled shade throughout the day. Not a few hours of harsh afternoon light. Morning sun from roughly 6 to 11 in the morning gives the plant the gentler, cooler light it uses most productively. It also dries the leaves after overnight dew, which significantly reduces the chance of fungal disease taking hold. The afternoon shade protects the plant during the most intense, draining heat of the day. That is when hydrangeas wilt most dramatically, not because they are dying, but because the heat is pulling moisture out faster than the roots can replace it. When you plant a hydrangea where it only receives afternoon sun, you are giving it the most stressful light at the worst possible time. When you plant in deep shade all day, the plant may look healthy, but it rarely blooms, because it simply does not have enough light energy to invest in flowers. East-facing garden beds are genuinely ideal. A spot with morning sun and a structure or taller plant blocking western afternoon light works almost as well. If your plant is in the wrong place and you cannot move it, light-colored mulch or nearby hardscaping can help bounce some morning light around the base. Your hydrangeas are not difficult. They just have a logic to them that most advice skips past entirely. Water deeply and less often. Mulch the root zone. Prune only when you know your variety and its bloom cycle. Test your soil pH before you buy anything else. Feed with phosphorus in mind and stop by midsummer. Give them morning light and protect them from afternoon heat. None of this is complicated. All of it compounds. Get 2 or 3 of these right, and the plant starts to recover. Get all 5 working together, and you end up with a hydrangea that handles weeks of neglect and still comes back full. So here is the question for you. Which of these 5 was the one you did not know?